We've just got to the end of day 28 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry. We've been listening to. I don't know why everybody started shushing now. I'm used to so many people talking over it. We've just got to the end of the live evidence of Claire Hildreth. Earlier on, we got to the end of the live evidence of Bob Lambert. I cannot stress enough the difference in the experience of listening to the concise, to the point, articulate answers of Claire Hildreth, briskly answering every question, very dry wit, no unnecessary talk, nothing off topic, nothing irrelevant, absolutely to the point, with the rambling nonsense that we've had to deal with from Bob Lambert for the last week and a half. I mean, it's been appalling. I'm so glad we're not going to hear from him again. I think that the live evidence that he gave this afternoon underlined what an immoral piece of garbage human being that he really is. I thought Claire did a fantastic job. I would just say that the reaction of John Mitting at the end of her evidence, thanking her and saying that, if all witnesses were like that, he would have a much easier job. It's the closest I've ever seen John Mitting to appearing moved by a witness. He seemed incredibly grateful to her, to a level of which I've not seen from him before. I'm joined with Eveline Lubbers of the Undercover Research Group, as I often am. What did you make of it?
You left me a little to say. No, but she was really good, and I may want to go into what happened before that, because in fact Lambert, Claire was set to give evidence starting this morning. Lambert was given an extra day yesterday. He was given then an extra hour today. He took up all of the morning. Then it continued after the lunch break. Like for Claire, her, the schedule changed every 5 minutes, basically. And I was really, really angry because, in the end, they suggested that she started at 4:30, which is not a good time. It's after the normal closing time of the inquiry day, of an inquiry day, which we haven't had very often. But anyway, and then also, there was some discussion about how to do it, because Jessica is set for tomorrow. She has known that for ages, but of course she saw that. It was very uncertain whether she was able to do it. At a certain point they said, if Claire doesn't finish today, she can do the rest of her evidence tomorrow, and she can have an extra hour, but you know how it goes, might be 2 hours. And Jessica really went, when this sunk in, she said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be pressed into giving evidence with a time limit. I'm not going to have what happened to Jackie is she wasn't finished, and her words were cut off basically. And Jessica has been living towards this day for more than a year now. So to just limit it into half a day, or even, to have the stress. And also, so there was a long discussion about what to do, and she had the lawyers tell Mitting, I'm just not going to give up my day. And I don't want to do it. I need a full day. So if you want to do Claire, it's also idiot to start someone at 4:30. I'll give my day to Claire, and then find me another day. I'm not going to do it under such pressure, which was a really strong position. And also it ended, the lawyers kind of put them together, find a solution that both Claire and Jessica, you two, agree with, which is in every kind of way, it's playing off women against each other. And it's and the only reason this happened is because Lambert took so many days saying nothing. He ate into the time of the women, and this is the inquiry is supposed to have a trauma avoiding or a trauma conscious way.
Well, it's meant to have a trauma informed approach. It has a trauma inducing approach.
Yeah, well, this is not, like retelling the entire thing and being confronted with denial in the statements of the undercover cops is trauma-inducing or trauma triggering in itself and more than enough. And just to sort of play around with the schedules, Claire came from Scotland. She bought a train ticket. She was told it was starting at 10 o'clock this morning. It then eventually started at 4:30. How is this? It's like it's so. And then so they told Meeting what they wanted to do. And then Meeting was told this and said, I'm not going to accept it. And when he came into the room, he asked Claire, did she want to start anyway at that late time? And then he told Jessica, your day is going to be tomorrow. And I can't give you another day. I will be in trouble to find you another day. So basically, he blackmailed her, both women, into agreeing to this like really weird setup that was very stressful for both of them. So in that context, the evidence that Claire gave was even better. Like if you realize that, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it was really very. It was just hugely commendable how incredibly well Claire gave her evidence. Yeah. I mean, that fact wasn't lost on Meeting, I don't think. I think one of the reasons why he was so incredibly gushing at the end about her evidence, and also during it, he asked her to if she could explain what she meant by ALF style action, and she gave a really concise version of it. I forget exactly what it was said, but it was very to the point. And he was like, "Oh, yes, that's the best I've heard." I mean, he obviously was uncomfortable.
Well, I think he was really moved when she was asked about her feelings when she found out that Rayner was an undercover officer, and she very concisely explained that she just couldn't believe it at first. And she let it sink in, and she could still not believe it. And then she sort of briefly tried to explain the entire mix of different feelings that you get. Even though they weren't even in a relationship, it was a friendship, and it was betrayed. She was deceived. There was betrayal, and she had like very deep feelings about it. And then she was like so good, and then suddenly she teared up. She said, "Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting very emotional." And Meeting.
What she actually said, it's shit, is what she said. Which I think it really summed it up. I mean, like I would say, I mean, without I don't know Claire that well or anything, but she seemed quite a stoic character. She doesn't seem. There was no hyperbole in anything she said. I mean, she said it in very kind of basic terms. It wasn't so much what she said; it was the way she said it. Yeah. And she didn't like it. She was. The betrayal had stayed with her. It made her emotional. And I mean, like, for somebody who clearly is not prone to emotional displays of any sort, to be that emotional about it was incredibly affecting. I mean, I was in tears. I'll be honest. I mean, it was. I think that clearly cut through, know.
Yeah. And Meeting was like, I think he, women in tears is difficult for him. So, you see him sort of, flushing. But then, he, specifically because of that contrast, it really hit him as well. And he said it in so many words that the inquiry is learning after so many years that it's not just the retelling of the trauma that has been caused by the undercover officers, but the retelling and the entire procedure of the inquiry is triggering as well. And I was going like, how many years are we into? We are like, when do we start hearings? 2020, 4 years. We've had women before. Now they finally get into learning about the fact that the procedure and not telling someone when her evidence will start, and just tell her to come here at 10 o'clock in the morning and then have her start at 4:30. is traumatizing in and of itself, and they're finally learning that. It's like incredible.
Well, I mean, I would say that. I mean, he's saying that he's finally learning that. I mean, I think we've yet to seen any actual learning. I mean, this is again one of the things of the inquiry. There's a great deal of saying, "Oh, we're understanding, we're learning the lessons, we're coming to realise." Yeah, I mean, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, right? I think we will really see that in stark reality tomorrow when Jessica comes to give evidence. I think. That's going to be a time where the inquiry has to act with a certain degree of sensitivity. Jessica isn't asking for any, but I think it's beholden upon them to show that they do take seriously these sort of things.
Meeting also mentioned that it is going to be a difficult day and that her evidence is really important because, Andy Coles, or Shitface as we also call him, is denying that he had a relationship with her, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough day tomorrow for her.
Yeah. I mean, just going into that, when we talk about the actual content of the evidence that Claire Hildreth gave this afternoon, she was somebody who was aware that Andy Coles was in a relationship with Jessica. She talked about Andy Coles being a creep. There was a lot of restriction orders around a lot of the things around she talked about, so we have to be careful with what we say. But she told HM1, a cover named Matt Rayner, that Andy Coles was a creep. He, in his witness statement, says yes, he was told that Andy Coles was a creep and was creepy. I mean, we got no. There was no. It was very clear that Matt Rayner was a misogynist, a man who hates women. We saw some of his statements, which just showed what a gross and unpleasant character he is, both then and now. There was some really, really disgusting stuff in some of his statements about Claire, about women in general. Really, the way he talks about women, it's appalling. It really just reminded me that as disgusted as we've been by Lambert for the last 7 days.
Not the only one.
Right, yeah, we're going to have some horrors next week from Coles.
Yeah, sure. He's absolutely not the only one. It's the only thing that is amazing that he's been given so much time to not answer questions is really disgusting.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely appalling. Absolutely appalling. It has been a late finish today, so we'll probably, unless there's anything else you'd like to add, no, we'll wrap up now. But I'll be doing a Twitter Spaces this evening. It might be quite late by the time I get around to doing that, but we'll be back again tomorrow. It's a big day tomorrow with Jessica giving evidence. I really, really recommend people tune in. I'm not sure if it's going to be live streamed or not. It is. Yes, it is. It is going to be live streamed tomorrow. I know that's something that Jessica's really wanted for a long time, but I know the inquiry has not really, respected the people's wishes on that. But hopefully that will go ahead. It will be live streamed. I really urge anybody who's able to tune in, to follow. As you will know if you follow the reporting on Twitter, Jessica's been a really key part of the reporting of the hearings. So without her here to give her commentary on events, it will be less than it normally is. So if you're able to tweet, if you're following it online, if you're watching the YouTube or BBC or whatever it ends up being shown on, please do join in with tweeting about what's being said. I know that Jessica would appreciate that, and and everybody else would too. So thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow.